too, because I mean I did.
Islam. The first thing I like to do is recite the Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. I'm honored. It's a pleasure. Moreover, it's a duty. We have a brother coming back before us today, an elder in our community, Brother Broussard, a brother that I met when I got here over 10 years ago, and he's doing the same thing now that he was doing then, even greater. And some of us that was on this same mission is no longer here. So what I want to do today is I want to talk to Brother Broussard about a few of these issues that we're talking about. Because Bruce ran for mayor. We call him the elder of the statesman. And Bruce Broussard, we worked together on the Buffalo Soldiers program. We talked about the Vanport flood. We talked about the sundown law. And we talked about a lot of things that's dealing with Portland, Oregon. Because each state throughout the Union have different concepts and different ideologies. So today, we're going to talk to Brother Bruce Broussard. And the first thing I want to ask this brother is, why is he running for office here in Portland, Oregon? Because you've done it 100 times. What are you bringing to us here in our community that nobody else is bringing to put a staple on this concept that Bruce Broussard is bringing to the public? My man.
Well, hey, welcome, and thank you very, very much for giving me this opportunity. I was so impressed with the fact that I think early on we spent some time. You spent some time with me. You had me on the show talking to the audience, and you gave me the opportunity to identify with Marcus Garvey's birthday that day, and you made it a point, and so I was able to get a good foundation and background on the issues that you are constantly addressing in a very positive way, because there's a segment of our population that needed it, and so you basically brought me to the table, and now I feel very comfortable in saying that that you did that, and you were the only one that was doing it. And that's the thing that makes me feel very, I want to thank you very much and appreciated that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, as far as my running for office, as you note, I've run for a number of offices here since I've been in the state of Oregon. Okay? Got me? But I came here as a Marine recruiter in the Marine Corps, for the Marine Corps, and spent time recruiting, etc., and then decided after a certain period of time, after 10 years or so, I thought maybe I wanted to do some other things. I got excited about the fact that besides just recruiting folks in the military, I was basically looking at a lifestyle and looking at the issues that were relevant. So I wanted to go to the next level.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because as you know, you former corpsman. So, and I knew your job description, and the fact that and how the benefits that the troops got as a result of having that corpsman, if you will. Got me? That's what you were doing. And so here I was recruiting young people into the military. Got me? And felt good about it because they didn't have any careers. And so just a little moment in regards to careers, you think about careers. Many of these young folks, and when we weren't talking about the heavy educated young brothers who had mothers and fathers who were professional people. Got me? So consequently, they had someone that can hold them by the hand and teach them a career. But the other young brother, their mom might have been just a maid or something, or this, that, and the other. And then so consequently, there was no respect there. And a lot of times folks didn't go that way. So the bottom line is that the military to me meant that in that structured environment of the military, and that control environment aspect of it, the person had to go through boot camps, and we're very familiar with boot camp. If a person didn't have a career when they got into the military, they had one after boot camp.
That's right.
Because when you graduate from boot camp, and that's the training cycle, et cetera, and they check your aptitude, they do the whole line, but you got a controlled environment. So all of the so-called issues that you were trying to and couldn't figure out what to do and this, that, and the other, that was left behind the door because they got a direct line and they did the job because there's no such thing as unemployment in the military.
That's right.
Everybody had a job.
That's right.
And so then adding to that is that if they spent 4 years or 10 years or 20 years or whatever, my point is that when they got out, they had a career. You know, they became firemen. You can go on and on and on, but they had professions, and they had resumes that once they got out, they can go to any employer within that area because there were similars there. It was almost like another country when you're in the military. Everybody working, feeding a family,
That's right.
eating every day,
That's
respect,
right. Yes, sir.
you know, down the line. And so I learned that. And so I figured, well, I wanted to share the rest of it because there were issues that I was faced with in the process of recruiting folks in of young people that I wasn't able to get in.
That's right.
We had a draft at one point in time.
Yes, sir.
And we had expungement. There was some good things there. They had expungement, but we had a draft system aspect of it. And those individuals who had problems, whether it be with crime or whatever, as long as they're not killing folks, I mean, just really having some tough time. If everybody could be helped, but you got to have venues for all of those individuals.
Yes, sir.
And then I was just basically dealing with a certain segment aspect of it. But so the bottom line is that when I got out, I said to myself, wow. And then I had some more experience because there I was in citizenry, right? You got me? And so constantly I started thinking, well, gee whiz, maybe I can start doing some. Maybe I want to go in banking. I want to do this but then when I went to these to look at doing those kinds of things, I said, well, Bruce, you don't have no experience. You got a structure, but right. You don't have you don't fit the criteria for these other things, if you will. So I said to myself, well, you know, I've been through sales school, excuse the French.
Yes, sir.
And I had my experience in the military, and so I decided, well, what I'm going to do, I said I want to go to this next level, and then what I want to do. So consequently, I think the best thing for me is to run for office, because I was meeting politicians too, yes, because sir. they had a definition in life, and a lot of times folks didn't understand what that system was all about, and what what these elected officials, what was their definition. In most cases, they didn't realize. A lot of the folks didn't realize who they were, as if to say they were their masters. You know, that's not the case, and they weren't representing the community per se. And the community folks didn't know the definition of those elected officials.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I started learning a little bit more. So I just started. The way I learned that is that I ran for office, and every time I would meet, if you will, a politician, there was a difference between a politician and a person that would deal with the issues. See what I'm saying? You got me?
That's right.
And in most cases, I picked up the phone beforehand, and they would not pick up the phone. But I said, well, what's going on with this all about? But then I found out these politicians, you know, they're basically, in all due respect, and this is not, I'm just saying that's the way the system was all about. The definition of politicians is me when someone pays for the person to be elected.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. See, so that's a different ball game. See, but it's supposed to be under our so-called constitution and this, that, and that. I don't say so-called, but under our system, it's supposed to be the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Got me? Right. But that's not the way we've been working.
Yes, sir.
See, and so I said, well, gee whiz, I learned that, and so if anything. You maybe want to call me an activist as opposed to a politician.
Yes,
and the
sir.
definition of activist is that I'm going against the grain of what's already here. So I said, well, maybe I can improve the system.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not trying to knock anybody from different veins. I mean, because even when you start thinking about who pretty well controls the politician, they're looking at it from the standpoint of their career.
Yes, sir.
They might be a business owner that's trying to sell a product. You got me? And they just want to make sure they get that commercial back when they advertise. You know what I'm saying? And so if it's people coming into their shop and this, that, and the other, and the bottom line, well, fine, then I want politicians that will talk to this issue as opposed to these other issues. And so, anyway, long and short of it all is that I went through that process, and I got quite a bit of exposure and experience. Because as you know, and like anything else, when you get out of the military, you have the option to go to school. You know, and then that was another experience.
Okay.
Because you say to yourself, okay, fine, wait a minute. I just left that, and when I came in the Marine Corps, I discovered my career.
Yes, sir.
And the idea, the purpose of school is for you to hopefully develop those careers while you're in school. So when you graduate from high school, you're supposed to be on your track.
Yes, sir.
But that was lacking because my parents weren't well-to-do. They weren't doctors and this, that, and the other, but they were good parents. They were good parents.
Yes, sir.
And they taught me things on that end of it.
Yes, sir.
But when it gets down to that point where I got to feed a family and this, that, and the other, I got to have more than that. I got to have a resume.
Yes, sir.
See, so consequently, that's why it was so important. I was able to tell the difference. So rather than saying, okay, fine, because I'd gone to college, I'd gotten a scholarship out of high school and this, that, and the other. But the bottom line, it didn't relate. Because guess what? I didn't have anybody to take me by the hand.
Yes, sir.
To take me to the I was wanting to go to West Point when I got out of high school.
My man.
But guess what? My resume, when they introduced me to the politician who would be able to give me the appointment, I didn't fit the criteria of the other folks that was relating to that person, him,
Yes, sir.
at another level.
Yes,
My
sir.
parents weren't well-to-do. See? But, you know, I didn't get upset about it. Like I said, thank God the Marine Corps was there, that military was there, because today I feel good. You see what I'm saying?
Sir.
So consequently, I'm going a little bit back and forth the routine because it's important that the public, the community, your viewing audience understands that. I come from the same group, if you will. That's the majority of our community across the board. But then as time went along, I basically focused in that arena, and I stayed in my lane. I ran during the primary.
Yes, sir.
And the reason why I was able to talk, because you had other folks running at the same time.
That's right. That's right.
If I was there by myself, I wouldn't have been given the opportunity. Wouldn't get elected.
Yes, sir.
But that was the second phase, right? You got me? And so consequently, that wouldn't get bothered. People wouldn't reach out at me because they had different lanes. I'm talking about the folks who control the politician. So consequently, I was able to develop my resume, my lane, just basically filing, because one could file. You just put your dollars down in your name. That's it. You put a few dollars down and your name.
That's right.
You don't have to spend millions of dollars. You don't have to ask anybody for money and then sign a contract saying this is what you say. See?
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, but that's the system that we were living under. And in most cases, it's still part of this, but maybe not as much, because I'm part of it now.
Yes, sir.
See? So when I filed to run for office, I'm saying, I got a resume. And now they know my name. I'm talking about the entities that are doing things this other one way, but they never call me. And why? Because if they did call, I've already published it through my communication
Yes, sir.
about where I'm coming from.
That's right.
I want to represent the community because that's what the system is supposed to be. A government of the people, by the people, and for the people. I don't want to talk into I'm going to do this, I did this, I did this. No. It's about community. It's what we want. And I'm representing those folks who are the we.
Yes, sir.
I'm part of that.
Yes, sir.
And so, and I'm saying that because that's where we are now. We've gotten a very sophisticated society, and everybody wants to be the lead. And then when you look at that lane, money's still, that's just the way our society is. We're a capitalist society. And I don't knock it. It's just that's the way it is.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but you don't have to act that way. And this country is one of a kind worldwide, if you want. See, but the thing that I'm a little concerned about, everybody's kind of like getting in an eye deal. When you think about how this country was formed, with reference to the lead person was quote Great Britain. Remember that?
That's right.
See, And a lot of times we need to know what our history is all about. You know, from the standpoint of saying, when they found this country, that was a Britain deal. We're going to send all of the roughnecks and all kinds of stuff over here. Got my point? But when they got here, they had a bunch of trees and weed and all that kind of stuff. They said, well, we're going to cut that wood and weed and this and that. And them cats who came down here initially, I don't want to do that kind of work. Got me? I can't work in the South, all that heat and this, that, and the other. So excuse me, Frank, and I'm just talking from a lay standpoint. From what I've understand, from my standpoint, this is my view based on what I've been exposed to as to how it developed and how, quote, me as an African American, if you want to do it that way.
Yes, sir.
Because and just a little side note, right now that's a nonpartisan slot now.
Yes,
sir. We come in all kinds of colors.
Yes, sir.
See?
That's right.
But they use but like I said, because I'd gone through this structure of the core with my career, yes, I was able to define what is the definition of African American, and basically what this society is all about. Yes, we have many cultures.
Yes, sir.
Many cultures, and so our culture, as far as a black man, African American, I then came here as a Korean and got my definition as a black man, and not knocking my deal, because the definition of African Americans in terms of how they participated us in the begin with, we were sold.
That's right.
Because the country that we came from, i.e., let's say Africa, there were many cultures.
That's right.
And doing that system of government is an I. I is the king.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And don't get me wrong, that's the way it was. But that was during that time. So they were bought and sold, if you will. And then people, in all due respect, let's say from the financial institutions, they did a business with it. There was a need to cut the trees down and this, that, and the other.
That's right.
And so it was a business, right? Got me?
Sir.
And so someone said, I got a couple of dollars. I think I'm going to get me some ships, get me a few ships. I'm going to put some folks on it and then go down there and pay the chief or whoever. And I want all of the folks that you might have had a war with and you got slaves. I'm just saying, we came up with new words and this, that, and the other. But in all due respect, it was a business. And so we were able to get here because of that business venture.
Yes, sir.
And then you start thinking about how did we come up with the definition? We were slaves. No, it was a business deal in many ways, but it stayed with us for so long, and the definition of slave became a division type thing. And the folks who were already here, they were the slaves too.
That's
right. They were sent here to this country.
That's right.
And they were white and this, that, and that. But my point is that we came here and we were workers. I mean, we could deal with that climate. We did the whole kind of deal aspect. But they had a system of government, if you will, that they had that definition. And so we came here, and guess what? We cleaned the land. We built a whole bunch of stuff. Just so people can understand where I'm coming from the standpoint how it fits today. That's vocational ed. The unions and all this, blue collar, right?
Yes, sir.
Blue collar jobs, right? You know what I'm saying? But in all due respect, that was the first creation of the blue collar jobs that they do, because they had to have certain skills, and they didn't have a whole bunch. They had a few of them, but the bottom line, when the masses came, they became supervisors and educators, and we were the workers, and then we picked up all the skills.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
but
sir.
again, too, when it got down to the point of sharing and allowing those folks to become supervisors and this, that, and the other, they changed it up. They said, now these folks are slaves. See what I'm saying? But so I'm saying I'm sharing that philosophy because it's important. Because as I talk to people, if you will, I'm sharing with you my experience and who I am. You know, it's like I said, I may be called an activist over here, but I have a career that was developed in the military.
That's right.
Like yourself, got
Yes,
me?
sir.
And I appreciate that. I know how to work, and I know where my career is, and I know what I'm doing to a certain degree. So anyway, having said that, now I'm still communicating. I got my career aspect of it, and just getting right back down from the activism aspect of it. Sure, they classify me maybe as a politician or this, that, and the other, but I know who I am.
Yes, sir.
I represent the people.
Yes, sir.
See, because they taught you that in the military. Ain't no I. It's a we deal. Got my point?
Yes,
and you
sir.
got a job to do, and they gave me my job description.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, that's kind of like where I'm at, and where I'm at today is that I got a job to do. Every 2 years, if you will, there are elections, if you will, and so I look at these positions. I say, well, I can go over here. Let's say if I had a sponsor. Let's say if I run for office, I had a sponsor, and I spent X number of dollars to basically support and endorse and communicate an issue that was given to me as a contract to sign, that once you elected, this is what you do. Well, I didn't go that way. I said, okay, fine, I'm going to use this as a tool to get, this is as one say, this is vocab not, right? I'm going through boot camp again.
Yes, sir.
So I went through boot camp. I've run for every responsible office in the state of Oregon, and that's from Congress to Senate, to the mayorship, state representative, to county, and I'm not trying to lighten it. I'm just saying I was able to sit at the table.
That's right.
In the primary, because I could afford to pay the fee to get to the table.
Yes, sir.
But that second tier, I couldn't. Hey, I wasn't about. I had to eat. I had a family to raise, and I was taught well by my mom and dad to be family. I understood that, so I knew what that responsibility was. But this other part, I had no career. You know what I mean? Because the degree piece, I sort of that I thought I was going to get trained while I was going to school to go 1st through 12, right?
Yes, sir.
You graduate, you boom, and even though you may even get a scholarship, but you know, due respect, I didn't realize that, but maybe God was doing it to me at the same time. ROTC came to me in high school, first ROTC school in the state of Texas for black folks, and I got in it.
My man.
And I got in it as a private. And at the end of 3 years, I was a colonel of the corps.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you
Yes,
know
sir.
what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And so consequently, my mindset was, gee, at the ROTC piece, I'm going to go to West Point. But I had to have that added deal. I had to have a sponsor besides the, so I didn't fit.
Okay.
But I got the experience, right?
Yes, sir.
And that was the thing that, no, just because I had that background, and going back, like, how did I get in the Marine Corps? I had that background and got the scholarship, went to a local college and, excuse the French, and sit there and played pool and this, that, and the other, and still didn't know what was the definition of algebra and I'm saying, how did that fit? I mean, was that a vocab deal? How can I identify that with a specific career? Well, when you lack that, you don't make the grades of this, that, and the other. But I was kind of just a frustrated guy. I didn't know what was going on. Got my point? So again, here we go, military.
Yes, sir.
So I moved in an area in California and sit up there. Well, I'm gonna go that way, you know, go West Coast, right? So I went down there and I'm walking around I'm looking at all the trees and all the neat things and this, that, and the other with the environment thing. But still, I had no career.
Yes, sir.
But there was a recruiter sitting on the corner. Okay, got
Yes,
me?
sir.
And because I had that ROTC background, I knew my left from my right, got me? I knew how to shoot, see what I'm saying? I knew how to dress, I knew how to march, and all that kind of a deal. And so, boom, I get in the Marine Corps. I didn't understand the difference of boot camp, but I had it to a certain degree because I was. But no one taught me this. No one taught me this.
Yes, sir.
But when I got in that piece, and boy, I tell you, and that sergeant saw me, and I knew my left and my right, yeah, and I was the only brother because Marine Corps wasn't pulling too many brothers in the military, even across the board for that matter.
That's right.
But I knew my left and my right. Hey, whether you black, green, on there, no, if you knew your left and your right, you the one. So
Yes,
I was
sir.
squad leader.
Yes, sir.
I was the head dude.
My man.
I was the head dude.
My man.
And so that was a good thing. You know.
Yes, sir.
So again, jumping back on this other issue aspect of it again for the purpose of viewing, I want you to know who I am.
Yes, sir.
And like I said, you got to give credit to yourself too. By the way, they don't know maybe that much of you, but you're educating them. You know, you got similar experience and career like I have.
Yes, sir.
Same boat.
Yes, sir.
See, so it's important to what you're doing for your viewing audience is educating them and giving them. You know about their family life. You know what I'm saying? You know the struggles, if you will. We've gone through the same deal, got me? And so I really appreciate and you know, you're not looking for the so-called paying audience and this, that, and the other. You're educating folks. And people need that during these particular times.
Yes, sir.
And in Portland, you definitely need it.
Yes, sir.
You can't exist here if you
sir.
got substance or whatever, see?
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, go on.
You know, because my father, he was born in 1898.
Right.
He fought in World War I.
Right.
And he fought in World War II.
Right.
Even in Alabama.
Right.
His brother-in-law was a professor at Alabama A&M
Right. Okay.
College, and my
Right.
father was the one that brought him into the military and married his sister-in-law.
Wow.
But what I wanted to ask you was, in my conversations with everybody, especially the men that I met here in Portland, Oregon,
Right.
what is your feeling about this sundown law, and how do it affect us, and have it affect us in a kind of way that it don't affect other people in other states and cities?
Okay. I will say this. First off, it's not supposed to be existing anymore. Okay, you got me? And I say that to say there are a number of things that was supposedly, policy-wise, that was supposedly struck off the roll book.
Okay.
But because people haven't been exposed to it, and that's through the educational system, they're still stuck. It's still being transferred to an entity, and I think in many ways the sole purpose to keep you down there.
Okay.
A few of us go to the military, like your dad.
Yes, sir.
And then when he starts trying to explain that to the folks, because they don't relate, and because, excuse the French, they are of the same color background, that's where that divide come in.
Yes, sir.
They came up with a new name, the House Negro. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But realistically, he was the professor.
That's right.
But because he was in the military piece, he was able to go beyond that point. So realistically, they couldn't recruit him to be the House Negro. So he advanced. He was able to say, "Look, son, you go this way."
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So the sundown law. When I go around Oregon, when I was a recruiter, I go in and what you talking about sundown? They wouldn't even act because I had my cover on.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Got me?
Okay.
So that's a good point you raise, because we need to get beyond that point. And I'm saying that, and I'm just being straight up about the deal. There are certain things about sundown that gets reminded of us on an every year basis. And I'm not trying to say this in a negative way or this, that, and that. We just had Dr. King's Day.
Yes, sir.
But at some point, you got to go beyond that day. Bring some other folks on the table.
That's right.
He meant a lot. But let's go to the next level. You see? And I'm not, sure, it's good to have a banquet, and this is Dr. King and this, that, and the other. But when I get, first off, I got to come to the dinner. It costs me. And many of us can't go.
That's right.
And then you got other folks that are of the majority class, because of the whole issue of introducing something that started to separated the banquets, if you will, such that their thing is, well, look, if I go, I've done a lot for black folks for this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So we need to be aware of that, and so. So somebody said, well, gee, what else then? What should we do then? Well, in all due respect, there's some other entities. You think about when Dr. King was born. his birthday was January, in the January.
Yes, sir.
And when you go into next, and you go in the next month, it's February, and you got several entities there. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And you got the whole issue of the Civil War.
Yes, sir.
And in that arena, the person who brought up the whole issue, as far as I was concerned, was the transition period, the Civil War.
Yes, sir.
That's where, if you will, the whole issue of diversity came up.
Yes, sir.
Through President Lincoln.
Yes, sir.
He's the one that said, well, look here, you folks who have been identified as slaves,
Mm-hmm.
if you come and join the army to help me beat this wall, we're going to give you citizenship. Good deal. Gave you the uniform.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of those brothers that went in there, we're still doing that today. Still,
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So consequently, that to me was a transfer. And guess who was there with him? Who brought him up?
Teach, brother.
It was Frederick Douglass. Frederick
Yes, sir.
Douglass, the first person that joined the Civil War, he enlisted, and he was kind of like the recruiter, was his son. And you can go now and Google the movie Glory and get the photo, just as a reference, with Denzel Washington and whatever. I mean, it's still there. You can get it on YouTube or whatever.
Yes,
you
sir.
know. But my point is that to me is a very important time in history, that we can explain ourselves, so that now we can talk about what is the definition and say, what's that? That was done by Lincoln. So now we use a word today that no one knows exactly what it is. It's called reparation.
Reparation. That's right.
See?
That's right.
But in the military, that's where it started.
Yes, sir.
Because when them brothers joined the military, they were wearing that uniform. And in that uniform during that particular time, reparation was for everybody.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So when the person got in that deal, they had to they were able to sign a contract with the government that you get paid so much, blah, 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 routine. And I'm getting another little history piece now, for that matter. The whole issue of reparation was done up in South Carolina.
Okay.
In fact, Congressman Earl Blumenauer just did a piece, and you need to Google that one.
Yes, sir.
He did a piece for Black History, for Martin Luther King Day. Earl, our congressman.
Yes, sir.
And he threw a little history out there to kind of define what reparation's all about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You see, in fact, as the old saying goes, I'm gonna try to dot the I as best I can, but Lincoln basically gave the orders to one of his generals to do the definition of reparation in South Carolina. 40 acres and a mule. That's where it came from.
Yes, sir.
But Lincoln also, it wasn't just for black folk, it was for everybody that was living
Yes, sir.
from that area, because that's where the truce was, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
So everybody's gonna get 40 acres and a mule as a start.
Okay.
And then the idea was gonna spread it up to the rest of the, wherever the troops were, right? Because the troops were all over this country, in the northern district, right? See? So he did not disrupt anybody that was already there. He added to the list, because a lot of those folks were just basically there working, that had been working on a farm, right? But now they qualify, because guess what? They were military, and all military people got a piece of the action. See, now that's history.
Yes, sir.
But I'm so glad that Congressman Earl Blumenauer just recently did a piece, because he was doing the piece, because he made the point that he's getting ready to leave and just get back to society, maybe ride his bicycle or the other. But the bottom line is, I'm going to stay in the deal and bring back and resolve some of those issues that we've been having problems with. And what I was reading into that, and I too, because I know the community well, when they started talking about the whole issue of diversity and set asides and all this other stuff. The whole force was basically send monies to Portland, Oregon to address housing and jobs and things of that nature. Well, where did the money go?
That's right.
With the kind of monies that was sent here in this city, everybody could have been millionaires overnight. But my point, the way the system was, the representation was pretty well controlled by another entity,
Yes, sir.
which was the system that we were living in. So they weren't addressing it that way, but they were there to sign the deal. But when you put that legislation together, when it comes back down here, the other majority has this small majority has their thing benefit is that they can also qualify for the money. So that's a good piece of history. Because what is on the table now? Everybody's talking about reputation, but they've never gotten to the point where they will be getting their fair due. And that fair due started with the military.
That's right. I have another question then. I have another question.
Okay.
I remember when you ran for the mayor, the office of the mayor, and I had all the members of our temple working with you.
Right.
I also remember when we went to the cemetery a couple of times in reference to the buffalo soldiers.
That's right. That's right.
And because we're here in Portland, Oregon, I remember when we had, not too long ago, when we had the Portland, Oregon, and you had your military uniform on.
Yes.
A couple of months ago.
Right.
And everybody was talking about that, and they're still talking about it.
Right.
So can you explain to me, why is Buffalo Soldier so important to us as ex-military and those that's still in the military?
Okay, I'll put it this way. The other thing is, I call it a diversionary tactic.
Yes, sir.
You got my point? Because the Buffalo Soldier is an association.
Okay.
Anybody could join. I hate to put it that way, but the way it's kind of presented is that all military folks and only black folks could join. It's an association.
Okay.
Like the VFW is.
Yes, sir.
That's an association.
Yes, sir.
It's not a military. Military. They give you a little criteria about you have to have fought in the Vietnam War or something like that, or foreign wars, right? Got me?
Yes, sir.
And some folks are different colors. If you got the badge, you can join association, right?
Yes,
got me?
sir.
So consequently, it kind of gets me to a certain degree, because when they talk to Buffalo Soldiers like we are military, as if we're still in the military. You get my point?
Yes, sir.
But you ain't getting the benefits.
Okay.
Okay, you got me? Okay, so I think, and then you ask yourself the question, what are we doing? Well, but it's kind of like a social deal. To me, and then that divide thing that's been a part of our society for so long, they've not really defined who is the Buffalo Soldier.
Yes, sir.
You got me?
My man.
Now, if I had my brothers and I was in charge and I'm sitting down there on the appropriation and handling the budget aspect of it, I'd be saying, okay, fine. What are your needs? Do we need transition for military guys? Are we following up on their kids and their families and this, that, and the other? You got my point? Okay? Now, you creating something that may be a business. You get my point? See what I'm saying? But it means something. And we can share the idea of what is the definition of boot camp and a military person who happens to be black. Because there's no such thing as black. No. It's a military person. Blacks are military. No, but you're Buffalo Soldiers. You're black. No. I'm military.
Yes, sir.
My DD-214, they don't even say black on it, does it?
No, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Okay, and so consequently, and when you look at even when you look at the VFW and you look at Buffalo soldiers, automatically people be thinking they've not transitioned and say, well, VFW is military, former military. You have to be military. And the Buffalo soldier is black folks, right? You got me?
Yes, sir.
So I'm not looking for a social organization. I'm looking for hardcore stuff as it relates to military. You want to do it that way. So when it's expressed, you open the door.
That's right.
I integrated overnight.
Yes,
right?
sir.
You know what I'm saying? And make sure that it was somewhat comparable to the VFW. Because in the VFW, you got the American Legion too, right?
That's right.
Now, if you didn't participate in the foreign war, you could not participate at VFW. But you got the American Legion as a backup. You can go over there.
That's right.
And you be military, but you can only go American Legion way, right?
Yes, sir.
Both of those entities are identified with productivities. They specifically do address issues. They feed the troops, all kinds of good stuff. Got my point? I just happen to be a lifetime member of VFW. Okay, you got me?
Yes, sir.
And so that's, as you know, as a result of that, I formed this No Vets Left Behind Oregon.
Okay.
No Vets Left Behind Oregon.
Yes, sir.
And then I use my resume based on what my abilities are. Mine is to communicate.
Yes, sir.
Mine is to wear my gear.
Yes, sir.
To make you feel comfortable about the fact that you do exist and you got benefits coming to you. Now it's a nationwide organization. In fact, it has the contract to the government to represent all military people as it relates to benefits.
Yes, sir.
And there's certain offshoots with African Americans. I happen to be one, but again, I'm basically letting the people know as best as my skill, and I got the background and feel comfortable with that. That hey, you got to stand in line to get your bennies.
Yes, sir.
And your bennies are there, but you got to assume some responsibility. So I was going to say we need to spend more efforts to make sure we get those folks in line. And I think one of the ways of doing that is that when that person is ready to get out the military, they would immediately examine their medical jacket
Okay.
before they get out
Yes, sir.
and set aside their benefits, some of the benefits to start with.
Yes, sir.
Not get out and try to get back in this long line that you're familiar with.
Yes, sir.
So you're not supposed to volunteer for nothing.
That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying? You got
That's
me?
right.
But someone addressed it that way.
Yes, sir.
But in all due respect, because I see a lot of veterans, if you will, they're in need of benefits, but they've put this structure there, the line gets longer. Now you can get it, but you got to stay in the line.
Yes, sir.
See?
That's
So
right.
I'm saying, hey, wait a minute. If you wanna do it age wise, say okay, fine. If you did your 20 years or this, that, and the other, well you put them in categories, right? Got me? But then if you only spent 2 years, let's say that's a minimum, whatever, or if not that, if you get hurt or this, that, but my point is that, but when you start getting into that 65 age and 70 age, you gotta go at the front of the line
Yes, sir.
because you paid your duties to this country.
Yes, sir.
Got me? And then all of a sudden you got to communicate to the family across the board, right? You got me? So I'm just saying, but you got to do this before they get out, because even though now, as a military person, when you get out, your jacket is there,
That's right.
and they make it easy for you from the standpoint of knowing your number. First you had a military number. Now it's a Social Security number. In fact, you don't have to worry about the long number.
Yes,
you
sir.
get that last four.
That's right. That's right.
That's your new name.
That's right.
And you can't cheat the system.
That's right.
Because when you appear, they're gonna ask you again.
Yes, sir.
You got my point? And so I'm just throwing that out to you from the standpoint of going right back to the Buffalo soldiers. I just like to see a little bit more structure aspect of it, and it's not just a social club. And I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying I went to the next level. I spent my time.
That's right.
And I haven't given up.
That's right.
I'm a lifetime member of the Buffalo Soldier Association. And I'm still saying to folks, hey, if you're looking, well, hey, Bruce, well, where are they? Well, ain't no problem. Don't ask me. Here's the phone number. Google Buffalo Soldier. You
Yes,
can Google
sir.
Buffalo Soldier in Portland, Oregon,
Yes,
and there's
sir.
a phone number and a name.
Yes, sir.
Call them up and join it.
Yes, sir.
And take it. Hey, here's the baton.
Yes, sir.
And go in there and just say, look, I'm a Buffalo Soldier, and what are we doing today?
Yes, sir.
You know, and I'll give them a good hint right quick, like, you know, hey, you can do the Rose Parade if you want to do, if you want to do that kind of a piece.
Yes, sir.
And we had horses at one point in time, and this, that, and the other. But then, like I said, we got to make sure you know where you are. And if you want to do some things, I would say this to the Buffalo Soldiers. You know, we got a number of older guys that are running around, and maybe you might want to get a wagon with some horses on it. You know, so you can attract the folks and wear your gear. You know, everybody get yourself a cover.
Yes, sir.
And get two of them. Put them in your car.
Yes,
Because you
sir.
still want to drive, you want to be somebody.
Yes,
put it in the
sir.
car, and then when you go in a store or anything like that, put your cover on.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden we're getting the folks together because when they see that cover, people are gonna reach out and say thanks for serving.
That's right. And I hear it every day.
Thanks for serving.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? And if you can't communicate, then guess what? Now we go right in that segregated society thing again.
Yes, sir.
But if they recognize you and you got a deal or they know you, then it's thanks for serving.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Does that make some sense?
Yeah, but I might have one more question.
Go on.
Because, man, you the question and the answer.
Oh.
Now, I hear a lot of people talking about the Vanport flood.
Yeah.
How do we relate to that as a people here in Portland, Oregon, hearing people talk about that, and what effect did it have on us?
Okay. Well, interesting. You made that point. Now you know we did have the Civil War.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And part of that war from that southern contract
Yes,
was
sir.
here in this area, right? You
Yes,
got me?
sir.
And then there was just a few of us in the state of Oregon and Washington, right? But at the same time, when we had that Second World War, you know, we built some ships. And then they found a nice piece of land sitting down here in Portland, Oregon.
Yes, sir.
And right there on the water banks of Vancouver, and right across the river, Columbia River, there was a little city called, but that was Washington. So that's why they call it Vanport.
Yes, sir.
Vancouver, Portland. Okay. But then on the other hand, they were spending the cat who was doing the building, he's getting government money.
Okay.
And we were still kind of breaking in with the whole issue with diversity aspect of it. So they had to hire folks to work.
Yes, sir.
And they sent the word out. But because of D.C. was kind of a little bit more of an advance, you know, the East Coast aspect of it, and then and the Northern was kind of like in charge, they said, well, make sure you involve some minority folks. Okay? So then they were looking for employment, and the name was there listed, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
You see? And some folks, black folks, came during that particular time. That's why a lot of them moved here. Beforehand, they ain't going down there. You know what I'm saying? So they built that city to build those ships. And after the war was coming to an end, it was the community folk came back to the table. Said, no, we don't want them here.
Okay.
And they just, the closest place was the northeast Portland. It wasn't Vancouver anymore. And Vanport was the largest city in the state of Oregon.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's how in Portland, like, you know what I'm saying, got me? And Vancouver was too. So it wasn't Seattle, it was Vancouver. But it was Vanport, that was a city.
Okay.
There were some borders there, but it was still Vanport, right? Got me? So consequently, and in that city, it was diverse. You know, whites were there, Asians, everybody was there to build ships.
Yes, sir.
Got me, to build ships. And so consequently, this was not a city or a state that was talking about marrying folks together and get blacks and white together and this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? And it just carried on. Now,
sir.
if you were in the military, that was not an issue on the base,
That's right.
right?
Right.
But the bottom line is that when the cat was building ships, it was a base.
Yes, sir.
So they
Yes,
could
sir.
exist.
Yes, sir.
But when they quit building ships, is they get rid of that base. And that was the city. And so we still have, so we got that history of a divide. But it's interesting how they well, you know, there's rumors, if you will. I've done shows on it on my Voters Digest when I got involved in that deal. I interviewed folks who lived in that environment.
Yes, sir.
And I was getting different kind of stories, like what happened to the city. You know, from the standpoint they had, you know, the levee broke. Well, what do you mean? So I did the shows, and some say, well, you know, someone kind of blew up the levee.
Yes,
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But no one want to talk about that, and I'm saying it's okay, because now what I shared with you just a moment ago, I didn't know, and I wanted to know, and when I talked to people who were part of Vanco and grew up here and this, that, and the other, and they shared with me, I said, well, why don't you come on and we talk? Oh no, I can't do that piece. Aspect of it. But that was history. I mean, it's behind you. But then there's some folks who are saying, well, I'm still here, and I don't want to bring this up. See? And then we were very competitive as far as blacks were concerned.
Okay.
I mean, we could build some ship. We knew how to weld. We knew how to work, and we would pick up that load. And when I think about that, I think about Clara Peoples.
Yes, sir.
Clara Peoples did the Juneteenth piece. You know, she came over as a teacher, and there were several other folks. You know, but she was the one that put that piece together for the Juneteenth.
Yes, sir.
You know, i.e. Civil War, right?
Yes,
that
sir.
whole piece, got me? And where it started, and she started that piece, and so that was good stuff. And and she stayed here, and still has family here, and we still have Juneteenth.
Yes, sir.
And I'd say let's expand it a little bit more. What is and teach it in the schools. But then you've got some entities that are running for office, and all due respect, the governor of, he was a presidential candidate from Florida, was saying, we don't want to hear the history of black folks. You get my point? And, you know, he makes the statement. I don't get angry with him, but I just say, well, then I'm going to say, well, look, I would tell him point blank, well, then what about your history?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about the border.
Yes, sir.
You got a Hispanic name. I mean, and that might be the wrong thing. But my point is that we got issues along that line. See? We got an abutting state, if you will, called Mexico, right? They got a nation. Got me? And they do certain things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now we got this border issue aspect of it. And then I think about, well, what about this issue about some people are saying to me now, say, well, Bruce, I don't see any Mexicans in a homeless area or whatever. Well, you guys say, hey, look, let's be factual. A lot of those folks that were coming across the border, at one point in time, we used to bus load them over here, and they'd pick up the crops.
That's right.
They have a caste system over there. You have the rich or poor. That's it. You don't have no middle class over there.
Yes, sir.
See what I'm saying? But that's it. That's their form of government. And all I was saying, hey, wait a minute. You know, they come over here and but then, okay, so realistically, we really have a employment problem. No, unemployment problem. We don't have folks to pick up the crop. And a lot of folks don't understand that there are certain groups that have advanced themselves a little bit more.
Yes,
one of which is the one who created it, the whole work process and the union, which were black folks, i.e. definition to the slaves.
That's right.
See what I'm saying? But we don't get the credit in many ways. And that's okay, that's history. But my point is that should be taught in schools.
Yes, sir.
That should be taught in schools.
That's
so
right.
the whole Vanport Portland thing is good history, but they do it every time I turn around, they do it. But I notice that they don't do it unless they get paid for it by the government. That's not a business to me.
That's right.
See?
That's right.
That's a whole different ballgame.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
go that way. Now, if you want to talk about unionism and things of that nature and shipbuilding and welders and all that kind of good stuff, well, cool. Put it back into schools.
Yes, sir.
That should have been, see, we should have probably the tightest welders in the world right here in Oregon
Yes,
because
sir.
they built all them ships.
That's right.
And all those folks that wanted to stay here, they had housing, no problem, it was housing. But my point is that at the time, there was a group of entities that still felt of this idea of the divide route, still fight, excuse the French, still fight in the Civil War.
Yes, sir.
And we don't have to do that anymore.
Yes, sir.
Got me? We do. We've gotten to the point where such a sophisticated society. I don't want to hear anything about I'm a slave. Because I've gone through the system. It's called the military.
Yes, sir.
Fair?
Yes, sir.
And when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. And I think we still can talk about it now because of the definition of this country to start with. We are a capitalist society. And it's only one of a kind. And now we done got down to the point you can win the lotto any day of the week.
That's right.
With $1.
That's right. That's right.
See, and when you get it, trust me, if you don't know how to spend it and keep it, you lose it.
Yes,
but you can
sir.
go back and do another $1 if you want to.
Yes, sir.
See? So my point is that, and so you don't sit up and say, well, okay, $1, but I'm over here and I'm going to get this for nothing or something. No. And in fact, another little quickie point on that piece is that and we're getting into these other areas of my activism aspect of it. Got me? I've got to, when I look, I just picked up this newspaper.
Yes, sir.
And it talked about. It's from a Willamette Week. They do a good job. We got several mediums in this country. And it talks about spray anything.
Yes, sir.
Why local leaders can't seem to clean the graffiti of Portland. I got the solution.
Yes, sir. That's right.
I mean, I can tell you, I'm going to be right up front. I'm going to give somebody a tip. Okay? And I don't like the idea of looking at all that graffiti running around this, that, and the other. And some are saying these artists, and this, we have an arts commission, and this, that, and the other. But the fact of the matter is, we got some young people who, in all due respect, have no careers.
Yes, sir.
And they don't have nothing to do.
Yes, sir.
And then we got a big neon sign say, come to Portland, and you can do all the graffiti you want.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's not the answer. For instance, I would just say right up, because one of my experiences that I worked with some of the largest hauling companies in the world, if you will, right here. Worked for them as a recycler.
Got a minute.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, this has been beautiful.
I'm always honored, brother.
Oh, hey, appreciate
Man, we needed this.
Oh.
We call this the Last Supper.
Oh, yeah.
When Jesus was with his disciples at the Last Supper, what did he give them? Food for thought.
That's right.
So we're always honored, Brother Bruce Broussard, and we're looking for you to come back again.
All right, because I want another supper.
My man. So I'm going to close out now. I close out with the Moorish American prayer.
Okay.
Allah, Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, Muslim. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who are those children all dressed in white?
Yes, yes.
Look like the children of the Israelites. Wade in the water. You all in trouble.